Nikki, wait. I was gonna ask you,
What?
I lost my train of thought.
I...
Good night. What else? Why? One wish, Willow. You only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
Zeg Films.
Subscribe.
Hello and welcome to another video. So the other day I saw the film Obsession. Came out a couple of weeks ago and this movie has been super popular online. That and The Backrooms are two really popular independent films right now, and I saw The Backrooms as well. I probably won't make a video about it because I just don't really have that much to say about it, but I do love that movie also. So this movie was directed by Curry Baker. It stars Michael Johnson and Indy Navarrete. I probably pronounced that wrong, sorry if I did. So the film follows a guy called Bear who is completely in love with his friend Nikki. Now it's kind of ambiguous whether or not she feels the same way, but regardless, he ends up getting this thing called a one wish willow, which essentially grants him one wish. He wishes that Nikki loves him more than anybody in the world. This goes horribly wrong. Nikki seems to be almost trapped in her own body, and this thing that takes over her is like insanely infatuated with Bear and creates a lot of problems, and it's really horrible. It just goes horribly wrong in every possible way. Now, the first thing I noticed about this film was the aspect ratio. I loved it. The whole visual style just looks fantastic. It almost feels like an early 2000s, late 90s aesthetic. You know, the way Bear's house looks, the car he drives, the store that they work in, just the whole vibe of it. And then also, obviously, the aspect ratio and the coloring makes it look very like early 2000s, late 90s. I'm not sure exactly why they went with that style, but I really like it. It looks super cool. Now, like I said, the movie itself is very unpleasant. That's not a bad thing, but that's just the case. It's not a fun movie to watch. It's very deeply disturbing and unpleasant, and not in the way that a lot of horror movies are, where it's just like, you know, scary, or there's like a lot of gore and gruesome nonsense like in Terrifier. It's much more psychological than that. That being said, there were 2 points, I think, where it was very gruesome and gory, and in fact, at one point, if you've seen the movie, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. These like 12, 13-year-old kids who were in the theater ended up walking out because it was like very disturbing to them. Honestly, they were probably too young to be seeing the movie in the first place, but the real strength of the movie was that psychological horror aspect. It has these supernatural elements to it, but it kind of keeps that stuff subtle. It doesn't really go too far with it, and it especially doesn't over-explain it, which I really appreciate. A lot of movies like Imagination have that problem where they have this interesting concept and it's kind of creepy and cool, but then they just explain it to death and it becomes really annoying and dull. It keeps everything very grounded with things that real human beings would be able to do. It doesn't really go too far into like anything excessive, like, you know, people crawling up walls like you would see in a normal possession film. It's a lot more subtle with that aspect of it. And one of the things I really love about the film, and I'm sure some people in the comments are going to completely misunderstand what I'm saying and be very upset about it, is that there isn't really an exact villain. There's not a explicit, this is the bad guy who's doing all of the bad things and killing everybody. It's a lot more subtle than that. Now, at first, obviously, he's making the wish very innocently. He honestly doesn't even expect it to work, but very quickly it starts to become obvious that it did work and it's not working quite as he originally intended. And, you know, he sort of slowly devolves, right? Because at first he sees it as a little bit weird. He doesn't really think about it too much. But then as things start to get weird, as things start to become strange, he tries to alter it. And at one point, for a moment, he tries to cancel it, but finds out that he can't. And then it just kind of devolves from there. And at first he kind of feels like a victim of circumstance. Obviously, you know, Nikki is a huge victim in the situation, but he kind of seems like a victim of the situation at first, where he's sort of trying to fix it or confused by it, but doesn't really know how to do that. But then there's one point where it becomes obvious that he's aware of what's happening, aware that it's hurting Nikki, and makes it very clear that he doesn't care. And that's when it really becomes obvious that this is a very wicked person, and he doesn't care that he's hurting someone. He doesn't care that he's taking advantage of a situation that is truly disturbing and evil. Whenever his friends start to ask questions about it or try and help the situation, he just sort of gets defensive and doesn't really try to do anything. And it's not until the situation becomes so dire that his friends are being murdered, that people start to die, that he actually cares enough to really try and solve the problem. And eventually he does in the most disturbing way possible. So like I said, this was not a fun movie. It was not an enjoyable experience, but it was a really great movie. I really love the film as a whole, and I'm definitely interested in watching it again just to kind of get a better understanding of it and really try to dive deeper into the story and everything that's going on here. That being said, there was one scene that was really funny that I really liked when Bear goes to his friend to try and help him, to try and get him to undo his wish by having him do his own wish or something. And the friend just goes, "I wish for $1 billion," and then $1 billion just pours on top of them. That scene is super funny. I love that. And honestly, smartest guy in the whole movie. Best choice you could possibly make. But overall, I love this trend that's been happening of young directors, independent films becoming more and more popular. Obviously, I mentioned Obsession earlier, which was directed by like a 20-year-old. This film, the director was like 26 or something. And these are both very independent films, very young directors, original films, original ideas that are becoming very, very popular. So I'm really happy about that trend. I really hope that it continues, because I've said for years, I think we really need more original films, more young directors, and that seems to be becoming more and more popular this year especially. So I'm really excited to see more of that. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, maybe even subscribe. I'm going to be trying to post more often, but for now, peace.